Hello, my name is Kasle, and welcome to the April Astrology Forecast. You may notice that I'm not in my normal setting. I am in Austin this weekend. I'm here for a yoga workshop. And so I wanted to make sure in the middle of traveling that I got this up online. So I just finished my morning practice, came home, had my smoothie, and I'm doing this for you to make sure that it gets up. And we have a lot to talk about for this month. This is going to be like these first couple of weeks of April are going to be some of the most intense weeks and days of the entire year if we're looking at things from an astrology point of view. And I have a couple of predictions to watch and see what happens this month. So let's get into it. April is going to be intense for a number of reasons. The first few days of April, you are going to feel like you want to get things done. There's a lot of Mars and Aries energy. However, Chiron is in the picture. And I talk about Chiron a lot, especially in readings, because it is the symbol that looks like a key. It is the wound that we come into this life with, and it is the wound that we have to heal and overcome to accomplish our mission and achieve our wildest dreams on Earth in this lifetime. So it's really important. And with Chiron in Aries right now, it is highlighting a wound of youth, essentially. It's highlighting a wound of taking actions before you think through them. It's highlighting our immaturity, lack of consequences, all of that sort of stuff, right? And that's the sort of thing that we're seeing in the world. Actions happening without any consequences, or without thinking ahead. And we're going to really feel the polarity between the Aries energy with the Sun and Chiron there and all of the really strong Pisces and Aquarius energy. Remember, we will never again see in our lifetime the home planets of Pisces, Jupiter and Neptune, sitting there in Pisces, and they're going to come together, which the word is conjunct this month. So you will have spurts where you feel like you have a lot of energy, and then you'll get tired really quickly and you'll wonder why. And that's because of all of the Pisces energy. I know that I felt that on Thursday. I just did this big spine and back bending class, so I'm feeling it a little bit today. I'll probably go take a nap after this. So just give yourself grace and space that when you need rest this month, take it. I will show you some other things as we go through some of the dates. With Mars and Saturn conjuncting in Aquarius this month. Okay, this is a warning for you for this month. Remember that Saturn represents limitation. It represents finally saying, I have to grow up now. I have to adult now. And with that sort of energy, limiting our big ideas about the future, our wanting to take action about the future. Mars coming and conjuncting Saturn and making that sort of conjunction is very stubborn. It wants to go ahead and do things. However, Saturn says, not now, not this way. So expect problems with technology. Like, for example, as I was prepping this talk, my Evernote, my notes that I'm looking at here was not connecting, and I actually had to rewrite the first couple of days. So really annoying. Just be prepared for that could happen this month. And also with that stubbornness energy, with the limiting energy, that's also playing out with Uranus and Taurus, because Uranus is an energy that it's the unpredictability. It's like that person that comes around that you never know, like where they're going to take you next, what they're doing next. It's totally unpredictable. And going through Taurus, which represents physical, beautiful things. It represents money. It represents our values, our self-worth. So Uranus is going through there right now, like breaking all of that down, saying you thought that you wanted this thing. You thought this thing was going to make you feel comfortable. You thought you were getting money from this place. It ain't happening. So continue to expect the unexpected when it comes to money, when it comes to physical things, right? This is also being seen in all of the shortages that we're having around the world with food supply and oil supply and all of that. If you thought those 180 million barrels of oil Biden just released were for you, think again. This is another one of my predictions. I'm going to talk a little bit about going into May. If we were to see a World War III, my prediction is that it would happen by May 14th, when Jupiter is going to move into Aries on May 11th, and then Venus is going to conjunct Chiron on May 14th. So my guess is if we see some big action around war, that it's going to happen by then. So I know I've been doing a bunch of looking ahead, planning ahead sessions for people. I highly recommend, if you're thinking about taking a big trip, if you're thinking about launching something new, which right now there's a lot of good energy to launch new projects, to go ahead and do new things. I'm not saying that. It will feel very murky. It will feel like you have no idea. You're trying to imagine the future and you can't see it. I know I've been hearing that from a lot of people lately. That is to be expected. But you're just going to have to take one step at a time, one step each day. Each day decide, what is the most important thing I need to do today? Don't try and plan too far ahead. And it's not that the energies are bad for travel. However, if a world war breaks out, and with all the physical systems breaking out, for example, that oil, that was pulled for war. That was pulled for tanks and jet planes and all of that. That was not pulled for us. I would not expect our gas prices to go down that much. So just be wary of that. Be very careful that you don't sit in La La Land. With all of the Neptune and Pisces energy, it could be very easy to just sit around and do nothing, to go into dreamland, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Use the Aries energy, use the Mars and Saturn and Aquarius energy right now to get a lot done, to keep moving ahead step by step. Just don't expect to know a lot of the answers for the future. So we're going to have several big emotional shifts this month when planets move from one zodiac sign into the next. So this is my recommendation. We're going to start to go through dates now and look at some dates and mark the following days in your calendar and then watch to see what happens on those days. Okay. This is how we use astrology. Astrology is it's a system to look through cycles of time and look at archetypes of personalities and look at patterns of what happens, world events, different themes in the world that happen. And they happen because of the astrology, not necessarily the other way around. Now, of course, the universe is this big, huge entanglement of all of these energies, and we all have our own unique blueprint that is mixing and matching with everyone else's. So it does all balance out in the end. But if we are moving from our little 3D human eyesight level up to the planets, which are much, much, much bigger bodies, we can look at those bigger bodies and see how they affect us. So here are the days that I want you to mark down in your calendar. April 4th, huge day. April 8th, that's the big day that Neptune and Jupiter conjunct at 23 degrees, and we'll talk about that. April 11th, April 13th, April 26th, and April 30th. Some minor days are going to be April 11th, if I didn't say that already, April 13th, 16th is the full moon, and we're going to feel a shift on the 27th. So let's look at some dates now. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about May as well, because if you are starting to make travel plans, especially for into the summer, I know several people who have said to me, oh, I want to go to Europe this summer. I'm like, I wouldn't recommend going to Europe this summer if I were you. If a world war breaks out, Europe is the last place that I would want to be, because we don't know who is going to align with who, what countries are going to align. This week we already saw Russia, China, India, there was one other country, right, that all joined together and said that they were in alliance. But, is that really going to be true? These things change once they get going. So we will see. But what is really important, and what I would recommend the most, is that you look in your chart. Like when someone comes to me and says, hey, what's up with my money story, which is your second house? What I look at is to see where our transiting nodes are in your chart. And that is going to be the area of life where you're going to want to focus on the most for the next 12 months as they move through Taurus. So go into your chart, see where is Taurus, what house is Taurus in. Then when I do an astrology reading, there's other layers of that I look at, what planets are associated, and it all kind of gets tied together on multiple levels. But we say sometimes your money story, it's not getting affected at all. Like it's not something that you really have to think about. But you do need to think about grounding yourself. I've had several people come to me and say, hey, I want to travel a bunch the next couple of months. I said, well, with what you need to focus on, with the energy that is there for you to work with, actually, if you ground yourself, you're going to get a lot more done. And if it's money that you're focusing on, when you ground yourself, you're going to be supported in your environment to make more money. You see how that works? So that's how we use it. So let's go in and look at the charts. Okay, so let me go back and sweet. Start off with April 1st. Let me go back here. I'll just go this way. Okay, so I am recording this on April 2nd. So we had April 1st, Sun Chiron Day. You could have, especially if you have a bunch of things in Aries, you could have felt really amazing that the sun is in Aries. However, Chiron highlights some sort of wound that comes up that needs to be addressed. So maybe something was annoying you. Maybe something was coming up to be dealt with, especially something from the past, and the moon was passing over it. Right? We had that full moon there. So we move to April 2nd, and these first couple of weeks of April, these are the most intense months of this month, and kind of next month too. So once we get through these first 2 weeks of April, it won't feel quite as intense. Because as we move here, Mercury passes over Chiron, and then it's going to come and pass over the sun. So quick, fast communication with people, quick, fast thoughts. And the moon is passing over Uranus, highlighting all of this kind of breaking down of our physical world at the emotional level. Depending on what planet it is, we're going to feel it in different parts of our being. So just today and tomorrow, watch out for heated conversations. Try not to get into a heated conversation. Now, here we are. Let's see, April 3rd, we kind of keep moving. April 4th, this is huge, okay? If you can see my mouse here, you see here in Aquarius, Mars and Saturn meet, and they are exactly squaring the nodes. Anytime we have a square, that's like a big tug of war, really uncomfortable energy in squares. Two people that are fighting for things that don't really work together, at least oppositions when planets are right across from each other. It's like the higher and the lower version of the same thing, but squares are fighting for different ideas. So that could be an uncomfortable day. I'm just going to warn you. Venus is also going to be sitting here about to jump out of Aquarius into Pisces. So this is going to be a very intense day. Let's watch and see where in the world, like what happens in the world. Then we move through April 5th. So Venus enters Pisces. Now, again, there's a lot of great energy to work with here because most of the planets, they're all moving really quickly, and they're all exalted. So there's a lot of energy to feel really good. It's just going to be intense. It's just going to be really intense. So we watch things continue to move here, April 6th, 7th, now April 8th. This is the big day, okay? This is when Jupiter and Neptune meet. This is going to be like, it could be one of the most magical days of our lives even, because these two planets are at home here. And they are in the third decan. They're at the end of the road of Pisces, which is also the end of the zodiac. So it's like we've had this whole buildup through the entire zodiac, and it's finally coming to the end. And essentially that's what Pisces represents anyways. Once you have gone through your life of discovering yourself as an individual, building your home, relationships, career, you discover your belief systems about the world, then you figure out where is your place in the universe. How do you relate to the cosmos, to the greater good? That's what Pisces is. And that's why we call it the sea. That's why you can get lost in Pisces. That's why, I mean, I'm a Pisces. I know I can sit and daydream all day long, but I have to remind myself to come back down to earth. So this is a really good day to tap into dreams, to keep those dreams alive, magical day. But it's going to be intense. The moon will be squaring the sun that day. It's over here in Cancer. So there's going to be a part of us that's wanting to tap into those watery emotions while the sun is over here in Aries, like trying to get things done. So will be interesting. Okay. So we keep going here. 9th, 10th, Mercury arrives at 29 degrees Aquarius. Okay. So 29 degrees of Aries. And then we're about to feel a huge shift as it arrives April 11th. Okay, so this is one of the days to mark in your calendar. We're definitely going to feel a shift when Mercury moves from fiery cardinal energy to the fixed earth energy of Taurus. And the moon is going to be opposing all of this Aquarius energy. And I've been feeling this year as the moon has been going around, and every time it hits Leo, because we've had all this strong Aquarius energy this year, it's like on the inside you feel like you want to go and have fun and be creative and do something with your heart energy. But all the Aquarius energy is like, no, we need to think ahead. We need to use technology. It's a much cooler energy than the Leo energy. So just be on the lookout for that. And something I'll note, later this month, I haven't decided on the day. I think it's going to be Sunday. That's like April 22nd or 23rd, somewhere right in there. I'm going to do a workshop on how to read the energies of the moon throughout the month, so that you can learn how to track your mood. If you're interested in getting into astrology, this is one of the first things to start tracking throughout the month to learn how to use these energies. Because remember, we use them to give us more awareness of what's going on, to give us more awareness of how the world is shifting around us so that we can shift with it and not against it. Because if you're working against it, that's when life is going to go against you. So be on the lookout for a link for that if you are interested. Okay, so we continue on here. Now we land at April 13th. Anytime we have a planet come to 29 degrees, it has soaked up the lessons. It has built up its energy through that zodiac sign, and it's about to make a big shift. So it's almost like you're about to jump off the cliff, and then you finally do whenever you go into the next sign. It's a buildup, you're kind of nervous, oh my God, and then it's a clean, fresh start. So April 13th, this is going to be another day to see what happens in the world, especially because Mars has had the support of Saturn and Venus for quite some time now, and now those things are getting pulled apart. So we are going to feel that. The moon on this day is also going to be opposing all of the Pisces energy. I never like when that happens. I was born the day before a new moon, so I love my Pisces moons, not my Virgo moons. Okay, so then the 15th, Mars arrives in Pisces at 0 degrees. It's at fall here. So again, we have a little bit of the Aries energy with the sun there. To me, it's just overshadowed though. Even though the sun is technically our brightest star, it provides all of our energy. Even with that, the Aquarius and the Pisces energy is so strong this month. To me, that kind of trumps all. Okay, so we reach our full moon here in Libra on April 16th. This is going to be a really intense one. I mean, a lot of them this year have already been intense. I have not gone out on full moons. On full moons, I just say, hey, I'm staying in. I don't need to go out on these days because that's when emergency rooms fill up. That's when crazy things happen. And because it is opposing the Aries energy, fire, war, people getting into fights and arguments, like that's just not what I would want to be doing. So just a warning on April 16th. Okay, now April 17th, let's see. It'll be interesting. So now Jupiter has pulled away from Neptune. Yeah. Okay. We have Mercury conjunct Uranus on this day, April 17th. So we could hear communication in the media. People could be talking about something that happens on this day. Look for lots of communication on this day. Unexpected communication about things. Again, these are just things, just note them down in your calendar. Say, I'm going to see what happens on this day. We continue on kind of the same energies for these next couple of days. We reach April 20th and the sun moves into Taurus. This is going to feel really good. This is going to feel like a great shift. We will have fully gotten into spring. You know, the world is heating up. Yeah, I was just thinking about, I'm going to Peru at the end of this month. I was thinking about the day that I was leaving later in the month. Actually, that's exciting. Okay, I'll get there soon. The moon is going to square the Pisces energy on this day in Sag. That's not so much a bad thing, though. Sag and Pisces don't fight quite as much as some of the others. And then on April 22nd, the moon meets Pluto. So again, we will have these days this month where things that got started earlier in the year, some of the things that Pluto ignited could get highlighted on days like this, when the moon passes over Pluto. So again, just watch and see what happens in the world. Then April 23rd, Mercury meets the North Node. Anytime planets pass over the North Node, it will highlight the lessons that the collective is learning, and it's going to be communicated on a day like this with Mercury. The moon also moves into Aquarius. We will feel that kind of a colder but cool, laid-back energy. Meets Mars, and then here we go, April 26th. I'm so excited. This is the day that I'm flying to Peru. This is going to be an absolutely magical day when Venus meets Neptune, and the moon is going to go right over Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter. This is going to be an absolutely magical day. It will feel phenomenal, so mark this one down on your calendar. Then We will feel a significant shift when the moon crosses over back into Aries on the 27th. Remember that Aries and Pisces connect the wheel. Pisces is the end, Aries is the beginning. So it'll feel like a new beginning. We will go from the dreamy Pisces energy, especially that we had on that 26th, and then it's going to cross to the Mars, like forward thinking energy. So again, use it. Those are like, think of it how in Mario Kart, when you would pass over like the little gold coins and get that little boost for a couple of miles, that's what this day would represent. Okay, so we move forward here, the 28th, Moon and Chiron. Yeah, another moment to kind of highlight what needs to be looked at, a wound. And then April 29th, Pluto goes retrograde. We won't feel this right away because Pluto is so far away, but we're going to feel this as we get into the week. Once we get into the summer season, that's when planets start to go retrograde, and that's when things slow down and just feel stuck. It feels like you can't make decisions. So again, make your decisions now in the first part of the month, and then expect that whatever decisions you've made, especially by mid-May, like look ahead right now. Whatever decisions that you make in these next 2 weeks will affect where you're going to be, especially like think physical things, where you're going to be, the things you want around you to make you feel comfortable for the next couple of months. Go and get those now. If the shortages are truly on their way, even more than we're seeing now, collect those items now. Just putting that out there, please. Okay. So then we finally reached the last day of the month, April 30th. The new moon in Taurus. This one's going to feel really good. It's also the day that Venus meets Jupiter and Mercury crosses into Gemini, and we're just about to get ready for a Mercury retrograde in Gemini on the 10th. So there is the April forecast. I'm just going to touch on May a little bit because, again, this is your warning. I want you to plan now for whatever it is that you're doing in May. Hello. Okay, so the big days to note in May are the 10th, the 11th, the 14th, and the 25th. And I will do a full May summary at the end of this month. But Mercury goes retrograde on the 10th. It's also when the Sun comes in, May 11th. Jupiter moves into Aries, and Venus is getting very close to Chiron. And then it conjuncts Chiron on the 14th. So I'm just putting this out there for the world. Just be prepared. Get your home life prepared by then. I wouldn't plan a whole lot of big travels in May and into the summer. I'm going to stick in the States around here until then and until we see more of what is coming down. So let me go back over here. I hope that this has helped you. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you got from this, and especially as we go further into the month, let me know the days that I noted, if anything comes up for you. Okay, have a wonderful April. Watch the magic happen, and I will see you next month.